Hey everyone, welcome back. As you can read from the title, I am going to be reviewing Cabin Fever 2 again. Um, does it still stack up to when I first reviewed it, when I did the Gore review over it? Um, in case people don't know what my Gore review is, it's where I take the goriest movies I have in my collection and give them their just desserts, like tell it what I liked about it and what I disliked about it. And I didn't really have too many problems with this except for the animated sequence at the end and the strip club scene. Yes, that's the scene that scarred me for a little while. But overall, I thought this film was great. Do not believe on the back. It says, "This is Evil Dead 2 fueled by raging teenage hormones." No. No, 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 no. The only thing it takes from Evil Dead is you get somebody who gets his not arm, but his hand cut off, and then tape wrapped around it, and he's pretty much going around with no hand like Ash. But that's about the only thing I found to be like uh, Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2, I mean. Uh, but there's also nods to other horror films like the first one did, except for this one goes overboard with it. Like, you've got the prom. And I went to my prom, actually, and I hated it. No girl wanted to dance with me, so might as well put in my MP3, put in my headphones, and listen to some ICP while I danced by myself. So, my prom wasn't all that. I looked good, though. Which is very surprising. But, anyways, prom, not really big on it. But in this movie, they made it a big deal, uh, kind of like prom night. Uh, for those who haven't seen Prom Night, I have seen the remake. It was alright, but I'm pretty damn sure the Jamie Lee Curtis original one is better. Hell, Didn't it make didn't they make three prom night movies or two? I know there's one called Hello Mary Lou. Uh, but prom night's the scene for this one, whereas the scene for the first movie was the actual cabin, hence the title Cabin Fever. Um, this time around, it takes place in a school uh, on a Saturday, I assume, because prom usually takes place on the weekend. And we've got some unlikable characters, but then our three main characters, which I liked two out of the three. Noah Segan, again, I know I oohed and awed over his performance in the movie, and I still do ooh and ah over it, because he did a pretty damn good job. Um, he plays the role of John. Uh, John reminds me a little bit of myself in school, like not really all that social with everybody. Has that one friend who always jokes around with him. In this case, it's a Jonah Hill type of character, as people say. I like this guy better than Jonah Hill. I have never found Jonah Hill funny at all, but this guy I actually found pretty funny. Um, the dude's name is Rusty Kelly. The character's name is Alex. Um, he pretty much gives John some advice on the girl that John likes. Uh, her name's Cassie, played by Alexi Wassier or Wassier. Uh, Not sure how to pronounce that. Giuseppe Andrews is also back in this, so if anybody liked Winston from the first film, you'll definitely like him in this. If you hated Winston in the first film, you are gonna hate the hell out of this movie because Winston has a bigger character in this one. Which, I liked Winston. I thought he was pretty damn funny. Especially in the opening scene. It starts off mist going over the water. Then we slowly move the camera to the left some more, and then stop. Boom! Something pops out of the water. Not a jump scare though, which I was really liking how this film started. Started off Ryder Strong in all the bloody gory makeup. His entire half of his face has been eaten away. His brain is showing. Some of his muscles are showing. And I'm like, okay, cool. Really cool effect. And I saw this movie 2 years after it came out. So I saw this in 2012. And it was the first time since I saw a Cabin Fever movie, since the first time I saw Cabin Fever 1, which I saw Cabin Fever 1 in 2002. 10 years later, I see this. I mean, I knew it existed, but I didn't really know that much about it other than it takes place in the school. And that's really it. It takes place in the school. So we get Paul Ryder Strong's character walking and his skin's all peeling. He can barely move. He's walking and he ends up. You think it's going to pull what the first film did, where you think the vehicle's going to hit him, and it doesn't. This time, it hits him, and pretend this is like a big glob of flesh filled with dynamite. Boom! Ends up splattering him all over the road, and bam! Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever. And the way the font is, I laughed at it because it looked kind of like a disco movie. If anybody's ever seen the Disco Exorcist, leave a comment below because I heard there's some pretty funny stuff in that. And speaking of disco, there's disco music in this, and I didn't really like that. There's a rendition of a Ramones song, but I don't remember hearing it. And I'm a big fan of the Ramones. God bless Joey Ramone and Jimmy Ramone. Anyways. So back on topic. It begins with Ryder Strong getting his entire body exploded. And we cut to another scene of Winston coming to investigate the scene of the crime, and he finds a foot in a tree branch. Paul's foot. And he ends up saying to the bus driver, because the bus driver's all freaking out, and he lies to the bus driver. I think he's lying, or just plain dumb as shit. Because it's before he finds the foot. So he says, "Oh man, you just hit a moose, man. Take these kids to school. Laugh it up, man. Take these kids to school. You haven't seen shit, man." And I'm just like, what? That is not a moose. You could clearly see flesh. And it's hemorrhaging. And the blood is, I forget the name for it, of what it's called, but when the blood is pretty much moving around, I want to say ovulating, but that's definitely not it. But for the biologists out there, you'll know what I'm talking about. So then we cut to a random animation sequence, and this is our title sequence, showing off who it's starring, and all the while we're with the credits going, we see this water It's bloody and everything, and it's going into a water plant. And an eyeball is going into the water plant, getting put into a water bottle, which I thought was pretty crazy. How could nobody notice that? I do not know. But the water is made to be red in the cartoon, the animated sequence, to show you that, well, it's contaminated water. It gets delivered to the school, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize what's about to happen next. Um, we get introduced to John, Alex, and Cassie's boyfriend, who is a total asshole. He's played by somebody named Mark Center, and his character's name is Mark. Gives Mark's a bad name though, but he gets his comeuppance in a very gruesome way. But I'm not gonna spoil it. This is gonna be a spoiler-free review, folks. But I will say some things, not really entirely spoiler-free, but I will say some tidbits that are just noteworthy. So, gonna fast forward a bit. Mark ends up pushing John not into a locker, like putting him in there and locking it, but pushing him up against the locker and telling him, you know what, leave my girlfriend alone. Even though she says she might like you, she's mine, and she'll always be mine. And it's the kind of asshole where you just want to go, ugh! Just punch him repeatedly, right in the face until he's bleeding from a bloody pulp. But can't do that because it's illegal. So, yeah. And then Mark decides, you know what, I'm gonna push John into a classroom. And John gets in trouble. And I can totally relate to this. The schools punish the innocent and not the guilty. Why? Because they're assholes. And the principal's like, well, you seem to have started the fight. Oh, I can't hear you. And John is saying really lightly under his voice, I did not start that fight. And he gets sent out of the office and sent to his biology room, biology class. And Alex is sitting there being his joking self, and he ends up popping his pen into the frog they're supposed to be dissecting. The frog juice not squirms, but squirts all the way over onto a girl's pen, and the girl puts it in her mouth, and I'm like, ugh. Not gory, but gross. I love it. So, Rusty Kelly's character Alex is talking to John, and he gets kicked out of class, ends up meeting this girl, pretty nice looking girl, has braces, but he's drinking the water, so bad news right there. We cut to a random sex scene. First they're talking, he says he feels sorry for her, that her boyfriend dumped her, and so they end up randomly having sex in the bathroom stall. Very romantic. She has a sore on her lip. Now, any sensible guy would say, do not, under any circumstances, touch a girl with a sore on her lip. Don't kiss the girl unless she's got some kind of medication, and most certainly do not let her put her mouth on your junk. But it's a movie, and we've got to have a random scene of gratuitous nudity in there somewhere. Of course, gratuitous means random in a different way, but anyways, we get the gratuitous nudity. Not in this scene though, but she's sucking and bobbing her head up and down, and then she spits the cum. I might get flagged for this, but she spits the cum into the sink, and I'm just like, ugh. If I wanted to see that, I'd watch a porno. I don't want to see cum in my horror movie. So I just skip over that scene. And she's like, well, because Alex asks, well, can I go to the prom with you? And she says, well, I have to work on my shift at my job. But if I can get one of the other girls to cover my shift, I'll think about it. And Alex takes that as a yes and ends up calling up John and saying, hey, we're going to the prom. So get ready, get your ass in gear, we're going to prom. And John's like, no, I don't want to go because he asked Cassie, and Cassie said no. And Cassie ends up being there with her ex-boyfriend Mark, who they're supposed to be back together again. And all while this is happening, Alex is calling up his friend John, Noah Segan, and after he gets off the phone, you see him pulling out his fingernail, and it slips off. And this is how sick the movie is. It's cringe-inducing. He takes the glue, like some liquid glue, of course liquid glue, and squirts it onto the wound and glues his fingernail back together, and I'm like, oh, really, do we really need that scene? No. But again, it's cool. So I give much props to the special effects designer. Story. Casting. Does not say the special effects designers. It says production design. Oh, here we are. Quantum Creation Effects. They did a pretty damn good job. No CGI. Like, if there is CGI, I didn't even notice. It was that good. Not as good as Hans Savini, not as good as Cabin Fever 3, which I'll get to. That is an awesome sequel. That is a third sequel done right. Halloween 3 is an awesome movie. Season of the Witch is an awesome movie, but I do not consider it a Halloween movie. It's in the tradition of the season of Halloween, but I do not consider it part of the Michael Myers series. Just like I don't consider Part 5 part of the Michael Myers series, because that one started off with the stupid thorn thing, but that's a different story for another day. But, I'm gonna go fast forwarding through this, because I don't want the review to be too long. The janitor ends up having a sore all over his lip, like it's really huge. So it's not even really a sore. It looks more like a wart, like a giant wart. And he's got to pee really bad, so to screw over the students, he ends up peeing in the punch bowl, and blood ends up coming out of his penis, and he pees blood into the punch bowl. and he mixes it together, and a girl comes by, really hefty set girl, like, I don't mind a girl with meat on her bones. So yeah, not bad either. I'm smiling under this mask. But anyways, she takes the punch bowl, puts it out there near the concession stand so everybody can get their punch, and then all hell breaks loose. We've got vomiting of guts, we've got vagina juice coming out, like not squirt, but we've got literally blood coming out of the vagina. We don't see the vagina, but we get the point. Going all over the floor, chunks going everywhere. We've got hands being cut off, so that's where I'm going to stop talking about the gore because I want people to see this. If you don't like the movie, you've got to at least give credit to the gore. And this movie still holds up to me. I thoroughly enjoyed this as much as I did when I first reviewed this. So I've got to be honest, like I am with all my reviews. 7 out of 10. Pick it up. If it sounds any interest, if it interests you even a little bit, check it out. And then check out Patient Zero when it comes out September 5th. September 2nd. Check it out. You can get it at Family Video on pre-order on DVD for $18.99, where you can upgrade to the Blu-ray for $24.99. So, if anybody's interested, pre-order yours now at Family Video. So, go out there. And if you are a sick puppy like me, buy the entire trilogy. I got the first one on my bed. Watched that one yesterday for the fourth time. Definitely still love it. Definitely is still my favorite of the franchise, with the third one being my second favorite, and the second one being my third favorite. And there's talk of a reboot. Hollywood, how you disappoint me so. Oh, you already ruined Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The 2003 remake I didn't mind, but the Texas Chainsaw 3 dicks. Hated it. Then we got the Saw franchise. Saw 2 was the only good one, but you kept on milking it for everything it was worth, and it ended up just being like a... And I thank Alpha Omega Sin for bringing this one up. It was like a tit that was filled with delicious milk at first, but then over time it just turned into powder, and it just went... No milk for the baby. So, that's how Hollywood is. So, yeah. I remember when films used to be fun. The 80s, we had the slasher genre. The 90s, we had the gore fest. Yeah, we had some 80s gore fests. Yeah, but it didn't really kick off until the 90s with Dead Alive and Evil Dead 2, stuff like that. In the 2000s, that's where it got a little stale. We ended up getting Scream 2, Scream 3. Scream 2, I did not mind. That one's actually my favorite Scream movie. But Scream 3 could have been better. Scream 4 sucks ass. The only way I'll review that is if it's a rant. That's it. Seed of Chucky, Bride of Chucky, and Curse of Chucky. They're good movies in my eyes, but I can understand why people hate them, especially Mike OCP Communications and Matt Rambo Afterlife. I can understand why they hate it. So uh, we can agree to disagree, guys. That's all I can say. Um, then we've got Sweatshop. Fun movie. I reviewed it. I forgot what I gave the rating. I think I gave it a 9, and it's well deserving of that if I did give it a 9. And it's well deserving of the rating if I gave it lower than that. I didn't give it too much lower than that. Lady Death. Fun movie. Even though that's not really a horror movie, but it's within the horror genre, subgenre, anyways. Friday the 13th remake. Decent. I did enjoy it, but the kills were pretty. Yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Kind of speechless right now. It it was okay. Like I could watch it. Um, Jackie Earl Haley as Freddy Krueger, laughable. The CGI was laughable. The storyline was overused. The lines were used from different movies, especially Freddy vs. Jason. The final scene, Nancy was a block of wood, but something about it says I can watch it. Like, it harmed the franchise, it did, but as its own movie, I thought it did do something good. Um, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like I said, 2003 one was really cool. The beginning was alright. Um, the Killjoy movie is pretty cool. Um, I actually enjoyed all four movies. Ginger Dead Man, alright. But then we get into a Cabin Fever reboot. I think it should stay at three. Three movies is all we need for a Cabin Fever movie. Three movies, that's it. It works as a trilogy. They are supposed to make a fourth one before the reboot happens, and they say Patient Zero is the reboot, but yeah, that's what they said about Devil May Cry 4 when it came out, and it went to DMC Devil May Cry. And I enjoyed that game, but I can understand why some people hate it for reasons I won't go into. Um, but I think the Cabin Fever franchise, it's not dead, but if it does go up to like 5 or 4, uh, I've heard a lot of rumors about Cabin Fever Outbreak, which is supposed to have kids in it. That's pretty ballsy. Having kids have a flesh-eating disease. Uh, yeah, that could work, and it's gonna piss a lot of parents off. I want to see it. I do actually want to see it, but I'm happy with there being three. Um, as much as this franchise is hated, I couldn't help but liking it. The first one was awesome. The second one, the gore was incredibly gross and incredibly awesome at the same time. The third one had a very cohesive plot. It was like two movies going on at the same time, and it was two easy to follow movies. Um, the first half were talking about Sean Astin's character, and the middle half were talking about the bachelor party goers, and then the third half, we're talking about uh, both of the storylines getting intertwined. So, Cabin Fever, as a whole series, I don't do this often, but as a whole series, the Cabin Fever franchise definitely gets a 6 out of 10. Uh, that's not saying all of the movies, all of the movies together do get a 6 out of 10, but separately, the first one gets, I think I gave it an 8. I could have given it a 7, but I think I gave it 8. Uh, this one gets a 7. Third one, we'll get into that. I don't give ratings to movies I haven't reviewed yet, even though I already have the rating already popped into my head. So, hopefully you all enjoyed my rambling review over Cabin Fever 2 Spring Fever. No scenes I'm gonna show this time. And it's weird. The Gore review is one of my most viewed videos. Either people really liked Cabin Fever 2, or they just wanted to see a good review of it. Like an actual review. Because critics bashed it, a lot of YouTubers hate this movie, but I couldn't help but love this movie. Definitely worthy of a 7 out of 10. Check it out. If you can enjoy dumb movies, you'll definitely enjoy this one. So, anyways, I'm Psychopath1c, signing off. Hopefully you all enjoyed this review, and peace.